Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show. Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today we are going to start our series on the DAX800XR Exelon reference from Kenwood. We are going to open this thing up, we're going to power it up, we're going to do all those things over the next couple videos, but today we're going to start with the unboxing and taking a look at all the guts, so let's get going. Now, as always, let's start by rotating the box around. This actually isn't the top, even though it looks like it should be. This thing with this ugly warning is, and that's really no good. This one is pretty nice too. But on the very back side here, it does have some useful information. It has all the cool icons that they like to put on all these radio boxes. HDMI, Sirius Ready. These little guys all down here. OEM wired remote, time alignment, 13 band, drive EQ, bass boost, loudness, RCA, pre-outs 3 at 5 volts. Optical out, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Play a bunch of formats, AAC, MP3, WMA, WAV, FLAC, LDAC. It's high-res audio wireless, and then it has all the accessories such as you get the idea. We're gonna talk about all this stuff, but there's a ton of them and they like to put it all on here. So I guess if this is sitting on the shelf, you'll be like, oh yeah, it has that one thing that No, nobody does that. Let's get this thing open and start with that. Ooh. In this video, we are going to basically pull everything out of the box and show it to you. We're not going to plug it in yet. That'll be a video next. And since things dropped out in somewhat of an order, let's take a look at it. If you've had Kenwood over the years, you've seen this remote control. It's the same one they've been using for years and years and years. The question is, why is this in the box? This is just a screen. There's no IR on it. And that is because this unit can be used as a standalone. It does not have to be iData. And because of that, in the box is this bag right here. And what we have is an IR. If you were to put this in, like, let's say a classic build or a car where it doesn't have steering wheel controls or something like that, then this can be plugged in so that you can put this somewhere in your car that you can then aim this remote control very 1990s style. It is an option for the unit because there is no knobs, there is no buttons, it's just a raw screen. Next up in the box is the RCAs. This has 6-channel 5-volt output, and that is labeled here as front, the gray, the black is rear, and the tan is subwoofer. This white one over here in the corner is audio in. That is if you're going to feed something that you need audio in. If you're going to be doing some kind of, let's say, rear seat entertainment, or you have some form of a portable media device, or anything that's going to need some form of an audio in, it has it still. And it's this little plug right here, which it's not attached to the back of the radio. This is something to pay attention to, because if, let's say, you're going to take this somewhere and get it installed and you're not going to have amplifiers, make sure that you ask the installer to A, give you these if they don't plug them in, or B, make sure they plug them in so if down the road you are going to do amplifiers, they're not lost or they're not misplaced or you don't have them. Next up, we have the microphone for hands-free calling, whether you're going to be using Bluetooth or the onboard CarPlay or Android Auto. This little guy here comes in the kit. If you do not want to use this and you're doing iData, not included in the box, but you can also purchase the Mic 1 adapter, which will negate having to plug this in because this piece will integrate with your factory microphone and work that way, allowing you to not have to see this. Now, all the new Kenwood radios are USB-C, which you may or may not need depending on what kit you use, but they do put one in the box, which is really nice. It is an automotive grade USB-C extension, and it is about 1 meter long. One other thing to know about this is the one and only USB-C on the radio. It does not have 2, it doesn't have a multi-port, it cannot use hubs. It only has one USB-C, and that's it. Nothing else for inputs. This does not have built-in GPS. What it does have is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And because of that, it does come with a GPS antenna, which is designed to make those work better, because your phone might be in your pocket, might be in a purse, might be in a bag, could be in the door panel. It doesn't matter. Either way, both Android and iPhone require this to be plugged in order for the wireless services to work properly. Next up, we have the video inputs. This has that little white adapter plug-in, just like the RCAs do. So if you're not going to have some kind of backup camera, which I find it extremely hard to believe that you won't, make sure that they do plug this in, and or they give it back to you if you're getting it installed. Just tell them to plug it in. You'll notice that there's these two ring terminals here, and those are for the one and only screw that comes in the box. This little black screw here is to attach it to the back of the unit. Once we get it out, I'll show you where that goes. What do we have? We have, for one, a video out. I know it doesn't have a DVD player or anything like that, but it does have video out. Some cases streaming may work. You have a front cam slash dash cam RCA. You have a third view camera. You have rear view camera, and you have video in slash camera number 4. That's right. You can do 4 different cameras with this. And if you team this up with iData, you can control those 4 cameras and see them. But you can also touch the screen to pull up whichever camera you want. The last bag in the box is this little guy right here. This is a regular USB to USB-C adapter. This is so if you're trying to retain that factory USB adapter and you don't want to upgrade it to the new USB-C, you can plug this into here and then plug your USB adapter that you have for your radio into this and still use your factory USB in the dash. Or if for some reason you do put, let's say, USB-C and you're too cheap to upgrade your cable from USB to USB-C, you can plug this in to here until you get around to getting a better cable. Next up, we have a big piece of foam. We have the brain box. We have the screen itself, and we also have the owner's manual. The owner's manual is a quick start guide. It's just to get you going. There's also a QR code in here to scan in order for you to get to the website where the full owner's manual is at, if you need one of those. Let's start with the screen. There's not a lot going on here, and there's way more going on this. Don't use a razor knife, because you could scratch it. It does come covered in a nice clear protection. One thing to note about the screen is that there is a wider right side than there is a left side. Putting this in upside down is real easy to do. I've done it many times myself. It happens. When in doing it, if you start and you notice that this is showing, you've put it in upside down. Just keep that in mind when installing it. Mounting this upside down is really easy to do. You put the right brackets on the left side, left brackets on the right side. If you flip it over to the back, there is some writing here on the top to let you know that this is the top. If you can read it, then you have it, but it's still easy. It just, you accidentally do it. It happens. These holes here are for the kits when screwing it in, and then we have these 2 plugs here that are on the brain box, a gray and a blue, that will plug in. This little clear thing right here is for your IR. If you decide you want to use this piece right here, it is going to plug in right there on the back of the screen. It is telling you that the screws you use can be no deeper than 5 millimeters. If you use something too long, you'll go in and crack the screen, and that will be bad. Now let's take a look at the actual brain, where all the action happens. This is a standalone brain. It is not attached to the screen. There is no brackets attached to this that attach to that. This is designed to go in the vehicle where the factory radio brain possibly was. And then these cables that are taped here to the top of the radio are designed to go off to the screen itself. There's a clip that goes clip side up, snaps into place. The gray goes here. These are about 1 meter in length. In some applications you're going to install this in, there is an extension kit that you will need to buy, specifically like the GM models where there's a radio tuner in the passenger kick panel and the screen is in the center of the dash. There will be an extension cable you do have to buy. The nice thing is if you go to iData and you figure out what Apex kit you need, for example, this is an S8 F01. This is for a Ford with an 8-inch. My touch. When you go there and you look up this kit, it'll tell you whether you need the extension cables or not. It'll also give you the option for like the mic 1. And one other thing it's going to tell you to do is to make sure you get a Ken 1. The Ken 1 is the wiring harness for this. If you notice when we did the unboxing, there was no wiring harness. There was nothing. If you've ever bought a Kenwood in the past, you know it comes with something that looks like this. This is no longer in this box because this is designed to integrate into one of these iData kits that comes with all the parts you need in the box with the exception of the Ken 1. Now, if you are going to do this as a standalone radio, you're going to put it in that classic car or whatever, you will need to pick up a Ken 1 or this guy right here, plug into the harness here. Now, what makes the Ken 1 so special is that it is designed to be plug and play. As you'll notice, this end here, this is the one that goes into the unit, just like the factory Kenwood. And then this is designed to plug into the adapter that's going to go into your car, streamlining the installation and making it super easy, as opposed to having to sit here and solder or butt connect or whatever you do this into an old school style. So this is actually a good thing. You just have to remember to get one. Let's take a closer look at all the ports on the back of the radio. First up, if you're interested, this still has an FM antenna input so that you can listen to your talk radio in the morning on your way to work. Moving over, the little black connector here is your iData connection. This is your data port. Below that is this input. Depending on which iData installation kit you're using, you may have cables for both of these or you may have cable just for the digital. Anytime you do an iData kit though, there will always be this cable will always have to be connected. What? Always, yes. This will always be plugged in. If not, you're doing something wrong. This one is going to be optional depending on the car. Next to that is the mic input. If you are going to use the hands-free mic, it's going to plug in just like so into the unit. And if you spring for the mic 1, make sure you use the cable here that says JVC Kenwood Sony adapter. It has this little blue end on it. It's a longer and it will plug in to the mic just like so. Located next to the mic, it says dash cam. There is still kind of available the optional dash cam. Hopefully we're going to get an update to that, but right now, you know, they come and go. Will only work the Kenwood dash cam and is not made for, hey, I'm going to go buy a thinkware. No, it doesn't work like that. Audio connection is next. It is the bigger of the two. There's a clip located at the top of the plug. Push it in, you'll hear a little tiny click and then give it a slight little tugging to make sure that it's in all the way. And give it a slight little tugging to make sure it's in all the way. If you need to take it out, there's a push tab. It'll pop right back out. Right above that is the video input. That's this little guy right here. If you'll notice, there is a screw hole located right here. When this plugs into this, that's when you take that cool bag that has that one screw in it and you put that on here and you put these in there and you screw this right into here. And that's how that is supposed to go. However, if you're unboxing it and you lose that one screw, I strongly recommend just unscrewing this screw here from the chassis, putting these two like this, and screwing them in underneath that screw. That is also a very convenient way to do it. Located next to the AV inputs is the GPS antenna. Clip always goes on top. Snaps in until you hear it. We have a cooling fan because this is going to be mounted in some really weird areas. Power plug input with a 15 amp fuse. Then we have this little guy right here, this little screw. It is locking this little piece right here into place. And what this is for is the USB-C as well as the micro HDMI are inside of here. When you pull this screw, that exposes the area in which you can plug them in. And if you're using the Kenwood version of both, you can then put this back on and lock them into place so that they can't be yanked out of the radio. And then last but not least, located right here, this little guy, this little thing right there. This is your optical output. This is probably their most requested feature that people have been asking for years and years and years. Well, here it is. It's located on the back of this radio. So if you've been, yes, I can't, well, here we go. Now the chassis itself is smaller. It's the same single DIN size that we've all seen before, but it is what we call a short chassis. If you're gonna be doing one of those weird, you know, I'm gonna put in a classic car, it is about 4¼ inches deep with everything plugged in. You probably need, let's say 5½ inches of clearance from the front of this to the back in order to get this in without crushing everything back here. The USB-C does go into the brain, so it's not like it's sticking out of the back easily to break off. And all of these, because they are plugs, they do make it pretty simple, and they do bend. You don't have RCA sticking off of the back, which is really nice. So now we know what comes in the box. We have all our parts. The next video, we're gonna connect all these cables, we're gonna apply some power, and we're gonna fire up the screen, and then we're gonna go through some of the settings and see how they work. Like, how does it work? RCA versus Toslink, network mode, and all those other things. So stay tuned for the next video, but we hope you enjoyed this one. Fernando?
On to the next one, guys.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next one. Have a wonderful night as always.
Bye.